Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay, and this one is another one from Shadow's tournament. This is still the group stages, by the way. I'm not sure I mentioned it was the group stages for the other ones, but hey, I'm just doing stuff from the group stages. This is a promotion! So this is Pugnobon versus WickD. Both of them have actually featured on my channel recently, so it's very cool to see them both here. So it's Tomb Kings versus Dark Elves, and generally, I favour the Dark Elves in this matchup. I just think all that cheap armor piercing and, you know, things like the Dark Rise repeater crossbows just have great ways to shut down anything expensive and scary. But here, Pugnobon's just avoided bringing a lot of that stuff. It's really hard to hit Tomb Scorpions once they get in the front line because they're animations, but they're still great at dealing with all that elite infantry. All that good elite infantry that can deal with all of the Tomb King stuff. So it's really good to see these guys in action. Also, he's got Cetra the Imperishable actually on foot. So all that anti-large that's usually brought to bear, you know, against units like Cetra and, you know, other lords that tend to be on very big, scary mounts, it's just not going to mean anything. Cetra's got this covered, you know. He's not going to have that anti-large bonus hurting him. No, he's going to have his own anti-large bonus, though, so that's going to be wonderful. Also, a ton of, well, skeleton spearmen on the edges. Always nice, just as screening away, you know, any cav that's being a nuisance. But also a load of Tomb Guard in the front and some Tomb Guard with halberds in the back. And he's actually got a lot of Nehekara horsemen, which I think are an interesting pick. I mean, they're quite good for sort of chasing down Dark Riders and things, but they tend to struggle a lot against sort of cold ones and stuff like that you often see. So they can get wiped out pretty quickly. They are quite flimsy. So it's interesting to see such a reliance on them with 3 units. So it's a pretty cool army. I haven't really seen this kind of build against Dark Elves before. And I really wonder how it'll do, because you can see the Dark Elf army is pretty damn cool. You can see straight away Supreme Sorceress of Fire, blasting fireballs, etc. Yeah, if he's on a horse or something, he tends to be a lot better at getting out of the way of these than when he's on foot, but he is still quite a small target, so it can be hard to hit him, but he can't really do much to avoid it. Obviously, if he's on something massive like the War Sphinx, it's only if there's a combat animation he can really dodge anything, being such a big target. So that'll be cool to see. So yep, Supreme Sorceress on the Manticore as well, so some pretty good weapon strength and nice and maneuverable in the air, can, you know, get into wherever she wants to get into. Also, Dark Rise repeater crossbows, of course, and Cold One Knights, again, of course. Great for dealing with any of the big stuff, and the front line is very scary with 3 Blackguard and Agarond, and then the Dread Spears, of course, just going to hold things back, which is nice. But here, this is a lovely centerpiece to the army, the Chilosonta, which I think is great. You know, that slowing effect can be really handy for keeping stuff sort of, well, just pinned down so the Dark Riders can mulch it. So Chilosonta, very cool, good at armor piercing as well. That breath attack can be really good for dealing with, you know, big blobs of infantry and things. So a lot of utility out of the Chilosonta, and always a pleasure to see it. It is a very cool unit. So, speeding things up, you can see straight away they're pretty much engaged. It is a very small sort of no man's land in this army. So straight away, Tomb Scorpion is taking the brunt of the damage. All the infantry start to engage, and you can see this flank is very heavy with all the AP missiles. Obviously, Blackguard are spread out across everything, but I mean, with the Chilosonta and the Lord all over on this side, there's a lot of strength here. It's very scary. Here you can see the Tomb Guard with halberds have taken a lot of damage, and I didn't actually see what hit them. Huh. Interesting. Was it a Frost Breath? Could have been a Frost Breath. Hopefully I caught it on the cinematics. So over here, spell going down, it's Usag's Incantation of Desiccation. That will really help out this flank. And if these Cold One Knights with their lower melee defense start taking damage very quickly, they're going to rampage and get pinned into this, and it's not going to be good for them at all. So that is a lovely way to try and deal with them. Here, Burning Head, that is going to hurt. That is going to hurt. Frankly, Tomb Guard just have pathetic armor. But look, it veers off course, so it doesn't get this second avenue, but these Skeleton Spearmen are walking straight into it, and it probably couldn't have hit them any better. And the damage there, calculating the damage, actually lagged up my computer there. I've got an i9 processor, it shouldn't be lagging. That's how devastating that hit was. It set fire to my computer. That's not supposed to happen anymore, so Skeleton Spearmen almost completely wiped out there. I know it's just Skeleton Spearmen, but still, that was pretty funny. Over on this side, though, kind of crazy. All these Nehekara horsemen, just the amount of them. They're able to pin this stuff in place really well, and Chilosonta only has 50 armor. So although the Cold One Knights are actually pretty good here, there are a ton of spearmen in the works. They've rampaged, they're not going anywhere. So just numbers alone has managed to catch out these 2 units, and they're not able to just use brute strength to fight their way through it. A load of armor-piercing missiles are coming in, trying to hit Cetra, but he's such a small target, it's so hard to hit him. Tomb Scorpion still doing great. One of them is pretty damn injured, you know, having taken a lot of Dark Rider crossbow fire, but they're doing alright. You know, he's getting out there, he's rallied, he's not crumbling yet. The other one taking some damage. So they're going to retreat, and you see they've been fighting things like Blackguard, but because their animations are so difficult for the Blackguard just to get purchase, on something like a Tomb Scorpion. So that anti-infantry and anti-large of the Tomb Scorpion can really put the work in, and can actually fight something that you'd think would be really good at countering them. So very cool to see. So more healing from the Realm of Souls, but looks like another Burning Head, and again, should be just scorching through these Tomb Guard, and again, it's veering off this way. It's veering off this way. If only it went this side. You can see that curve is pretty huge, and oh, and now it's starting to correct. But yeah, it could have scorched most of these units, and that would have been great. You can see the Supreme Sorceress has actually dived in to try and deal with Cetra a little bit. Chilla Sontar still going, but hasn't really been able to do anything particularly useful. It's just being pinned by all these Nehekara Horsemen, and these Spearmen are jamming it, which isn't good for him. But Cetra is a little bit caught out here. There's a lot of very elite stuff, and there's still plenty of Dart Rider ammunition here that can do a lot of work. Here you can see the Cold One Knights are stuck in here, trying to do what they can, along with a load of Blackguard, and the Chilla Sontar is trying to get to the support of some infantry, because that's where he's going to be a lot safer. If a load of these Nehekara Horsemen are fighting Blackguard, the Blackguard are going to tear it apart, and that will give the Chilla Sontar a lot of respite. But one more Realm of Souls has procced, so that's the last healing they're going to get. But with this much infantry, that is a huge amount of healing over the course, you know, over sort of across the whole army. That is an overwhelming amount of healing. And also, the Ushabti summon, that's going to block in the Chilla Sontar now, and this is a wonderful move, which I'm so happy with this move. It's so cool. Jaf's Incantation of Cursed Blades upgraded. So plus 20% weapon damage, plus 20% armor piercing damage for Ushabti. That's a big increase in damage, but also plus 16 bonus versus large. So that quite crap melee attack they've got suddenly is a lot higher, so they're able to chase off this Chilla Sontar. And now the Chilla Sontar's fighting them, but they're a free unit, and the rest of the army is being chased down. You can see spears trying to get on these Dart Riders, and there's no real crowd control going on anymore. There's nothing that can just kill a load of infantry at once, apart from the Burning Head, but those first two were kind of whiffs. You know, you want those Burning Heads to be getting through all this infantry, because that was the one tool that was here to be able to kill swathes of infantry quickly. So that was incredibly difficult. Here you can see the Blackguard there being chased off, Blackguard there being chased off. You know, though Dread Spears have all shattered. You know, these Blackguard being chased off. So yeah, the Supreme Sorcerer had no choice but to dive in here, try and finish off the Tomb Scorpion. You know, try and get some work in to help something come back to the fight. But there's just no hope for them. There's only 8. It's pretty pathetic. So she did her best. But over here, Chilla Sontar now running. But Cetra the Imperishable, all those fireballs over the course of the battle, and just being stuck in the fight for so long, he is very injured, and this could kill him. But again, kind of a whiff. Not a good hit on him. Not a good hit on him, and that is devastating. So Dark Rise Repeater Crossbows trying to shoot in here, do what they can, and the Chilla Sontar, you know, 88 kills, pretty good, but he really needs some help here. He's got nothing he can rely on to help him, and now a load of units are pushing the Dart Riders out of the way, while the Chilla Sontar is just overwhelmed. Cetra, he's just chilling. He's chilling. Another fireball coming in, though. That's right, another one. And this could be it for him. 20 health. He survived with 20 health. He's not even crumbling yet. But yeah, that's the beauty of a Supreme Sorceress on Manticore. She can basically come in and fight whatever she likes, and so that is the end of Cetra. So suddenly, things are turning around a little bit. You know, one good Burning Head here could chew through most of the remaining value of this army. You know, as long as the Dart Riders can stay out of the fight, make sure they don't get bogged down and killed. You know, as long as the Sorceress doesn't take any more damage, and hopefully the Chilla Sontar can anchor this line long enough to be able to get in some good damage, because you can see leadership is pretty poor across a lot of these infantry. A lot of units are crumbling, but Chilla Sontar is definitely starting to waver. It's not looking good for him either. You can see the Dark Rise Repeater Crossbows are actually running into melee just to try and keep this stuff crumbling, because the balance of power is in the favour of the Tomb King still, but as soon as a few of these units disappear, that could be it. I mean, this Skeleton Spearman unit, a ton of health, but he's still crumbling. But that's the Chilla Sontar broken, and the balance power is shifting more in the favour of the Tomb Kings, and that's enough. Just couldn't get out that one extra spell. Pyrrhic victory. Not what I was expecting, honestly. I mean, even seeing the armies, I thought there's no way that you're going to be able to get enough damage into all of those Blackguard. But yeah, the Tomb Scorpions did a wonderful job. You know, the priority for the cold ones were just the sort of infantry on the edges. They didn't try and focus down the Tomb Scorpions, which is what they really needed to do, because a lot of the time you try and, you know, use the flanks to your advantage, try and sneak around the back, because you're expecting a load of Ushabti, but the strategy didn't really change. And I think that's what cost WickD the battle here. You know, his strategy didn't change over the usual strategies you'd adopt to try and, you know, surround the Tomb Kings and break those expensive units. No, all the strength was in the middle. You know, all those large things that you needed to pin down were in the middle of the army. So having the Cold One Knights in reserve to try and stop the Tomb Scorpions from getting involved, that would have been brilliant. You know, just let the Black Guard and the Dread Spears just hold that front line, and the Black Guard would have lasted pretty much forever if it wasn't for the Tomb Scorpions diving in and getting a lot of good damage in there. And I think the Cold Ones could have countered that really well, but instead they kind of got, you know, they separated, you know, each went their own way. A nice spell use by Pugnobon using the, you know, the incantation of Desiccation. You know, lowering stats like that, it made it very difficult for them to get those advantages. So I think keeping these guys in reserve would have helped a hell of a lot. You know, let them fight alongside the Blackguard rather than letting them get caught out. You know, you don't really expect something like the Chilla Sontar and a unit of Cold One Knights to be completely just devastated by a bunch of Nehekara horsemen, but it can happen. You know, numbers count for a lot. So yeah, I think seeing the smaller army, WickD should have played a little bit more defensively, and I get the feeling he'd agree with me with this as well. There's no need to rush when you have a fireball at your disposal and nothing that can actually, you know, stress out the Supreme Sorceress. So I think delaying that engagement, you know, letting get as much value out of the Dark Rides as possible, there were a lot of tools he had that if he played defensively, I think he could have made better use of them. And I think that's what lost him, the fight there, which, you know, is a real pity, because this, I think, often favours the Dark Elves, but this is a beautiful approach to combating it. Just go really wide with a load of, you know, I'd say elite infantry. I mean, they are elite infantry, but of course it's Tomb Kings and their elite infantry are pretty flimsy compared to a lot of others. You know, 50 armor, it's rife for getting exploited by, you know, big breath attacks and things. And yeah, unfortunately, they went a bit awry as well. Again, not ideal for WickD. But yeah, this was a great fight. So guys, be sure to go check out Shadow Online Gaming. He's the one hosting this tournament, and he is actually casting every single game in the tournament. I can't remember how many competitors it is. I think it's more than 40. There's more than 100 games just in the group stages, and then it's going to go to knockouts. So there's a huge amount of Total War content to go and enjoy over there. So yeah, go and check that out. It's a hell of a thing. Huge tournament, and to be covered so exhaustively is pretty rare. You know, most tournaments that are casted, people just sort of cast it as they go, and you know, you don't really see the whole thing. So this is a hell of a spectacle. So I recommend it. So go check out Shadow. If I didn't post the link, it's because I've forgotten again. So someone remind me, or post it on my behalf, and I'll pin it. One or the other, whatever. Remind me, because I've inevitably forgotten, because that's what I do. So if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.